Hello, fellow rat punchers. Let me ask you a simple question. What's the difference between a fruit fly and a crab? The difference is that one of them can rip you a new one 5 minutes into a game, and the other one might just be the reason you survive said encounter, because you drank the juice of its tiny pulverized body conveniently stored into a flask that somehow heals all your wounds. Or maybe it kills you too, because you thought open terrain was a tactical advantage. Shattered Pixel Dungeon is the best dungeon crawler roguelike RPG I've ever played. It capsulates the essence of venturing into the moldy, almost radioactive basements of the communist-era apartment block. Every run is unique thanks to procedurally generated levels, enemies, and loot spread across 5 regions, and that's before you can even pick your class from the roster of 6 heroes, each with 5 subclasses. Shattered started as a rebalance mod of the original open source version and evolved into a standalone game, but no matter which version of Pixel Dungeon you try, of which there are many, there's one thing they all have in common. They will beat your ass. It's a hard but fair game, and if you want to get through it, you've come to the right person to tell you about this amazing game in excruciating detail. No! Oh boy. Oh shit. I will not live long enough to profit out of that, for sure. Speaking of which... Oh, I'm fucked. So this is an aura around me. How am I No! What? I thought that was a potion of like healing because the fly dropped it. Apparently not. It was just my weapon of luck cocking me. You pick your hero, read the info related to the class, or don't, and hit start. Welcome to the sewers. You can opt to play the game as it was intended, by touching things, or you can use the keyboard, or both. I personally use a mix of the two, and that's why you'll see me mostly crab walk. Everything important is visible right away. No need to dig through 6 menus just to confirm you're dying. Take a few steps into a room and you'll find exactly what you'd expect in the sewer complex. Water, pipes, grass, food, clothes, weapons, soiled scrolls of arcane magic, marsupial rats, and probably someone's missing uncle, you know, the usual. Your first opponent is most likely going to be the rat, which is pretty straightforward. It walks towards you, slaps you, you slap it back. It's your typical turn-based action violence. Fights can end in a single round or drag on with both sides constantly dodging attacks. Or your first encounter will be a roadblock, and one of the greatest sources of negative reviews for this game, the sewer snake. You're going to die to this thing over and over, and you're left wondering, how can this oversized serpent be that hard to kill? Well, that's because it exploits one of humanity's greatest weakness, reading comprehension. To hit it, you need to either zap it with magic or surprise it, which sounds vague but not really. In the bottom right corner of the screen there's a tiny magnifying glass. Click it once and you can manually inspect whatever you're looking at. Click it twice and it scans the area for hidden doors and traps. It's a valuable tool since traps can be turned against your enemies, but stepping over them won't kill you outright in most situations, but the aftermath, yeah, that sucks. Shock traps in particular can eat shit and die. Hidden doors often lead to some decent loot, but just so you know, the action passes 2 turns instead of 1. But back to the examine tool. Most of the time, you'll just learn that grass is grass, but examine your equipment and you'll see useful yellow highlighted info. Same goes for enemies, like the snake, which will literally tell you it's hard to hit unless you surprise it. If you still can't figure out that you need to let the snake walk into a doorway and then smack it as it enters, you either didn't look hard enough or you're lobotomized. You know you've managed a surprise attack when you notice an exclamation mark when hitting the target. Holding the wait button makes your character sleep, automatically passing turns until an enemy enters your field of view. Handy when you want to regenerate your health after stepping on a sungrass, but avoid napping around the corner. Every room tends to have random items like a leather jacket or a hand axe, and while some of you might be tempted to immediately put a gear on because it shows bigger damage and defense numbers, I'd strongly advise against that. What's the worst that can happen? Well, that can happen. Items can be enchanted or cursed, and if it's the latter, you can't remove it. You don't want to get stuck with a polarized quarterstaff or an anti-entropy leather armor. You should look at your inventory background colors to see if it's safe. Red for cursed, blue for not cursed, and purple if you know nothing about it. So the last logical thing you can do is to gamble and equip... Oh, okay. Probably I should have mentioned that you can identify them with a scroll, but we're past that. Luckily, there are other scrolls that can help you with that. Scrolls of upgrade and scroll of remove curse. Remove curse does your taxes. obvious. An upgrade improves equipment and might lift the curse. Even if it doesn't, it will weaken it, letting you remove it. But here's another problem. How do you even know which scroll is which? You just found Berkanan, Laguz, Taiwaz, and Ying. The scrolls are randomized every run, so just because the Taiwan scroll was an upgrade last run doesn't mean it won't be a flashbang this time. One way to deduce a scroll's purpose is with the Stone of Intuition, or use actual intuition, since some scroll types have a guaranteed spawn condition, like scrolls of upgrade. They appear 3 times per region but only 1 per floor, so if you've reached floor 3 and one scroll type has shown up twice, it's probably a scroll of upgrade. What about the others? If you've got 2 copies of the scroll, you can use one or turn them into rune stones. More on that later. But for now, potions. Lots of them. Just like scrolls, potions get randomized every run and are easy to figure out. Potions of strength spawn twice per region, 1 every 2 levels. That weird puzzle room with a treasure chest divided by a bottomless pit, there's always a potion of levitation somewhere. And if you've just squashed a fly in the doorway and it drops some mysterious juice, that's an organic, freshly squeezed potion of healing. Now, if you're feeling brave or just a little thirsty, you can chug an unidentified potion right away. Just make sure you do it over a water tile or somewhere safe, because the moment you think, hey, that neon pink looks kinda yummers, you'll find out it's actually liquid fire. Or nerve gas, and now you're at the mercy of whoever was smart enough to not drink that. Take it, boy. That was a hefty info dump straight into your frontal lobe. So let's talk about food. It's not a caprese sandwich, but it will keep you alive. Don't eat it the second your stomach growls. If you eat rations too early, you'll be left chewing on your own fingers. When your health drops below 50%, or you're about to step into a tough fight, eat. Or better yet, skip eating entirely by sipping a few dew drops instead, or scavenge for seeds that can also aid you. Every few floors, the game introduces a new enemy type, and on rare occasions, you'll encounter alternative versions. Mostly the same meat, slightly different sauce with a guaranteed drop. You'll also stumble across a pale ghost.
Just hanging around.
Talk to it and it will give you a quest that needs to be completed on the same floor. These quests are randomized between runs, but this one, he tells you a tragic tale involving a vermin and an incurable case of ligma. Make sure you actually read the dialogue this time, because he'll spell out exactly what to look out for and what's coming. Complete the task, return, and claim your reward. There are 4 quest NPCs you can find during your playthrough. You can ignore them, but some will definitely help you out later. Impressive you've made it this far, not because I doubted you, but because you somehow managed to ignore the glowing pulsating overlay over your character. Every time you level up, besides the usual bonuses to the health, dodge, and accuracy, you also get talent points. Click on your character on the bottom and you'll find a list of passive upgrades split into tiers. You'll start with a tier 1, but the deeper you go, the more tiers you unlock. Around tier 3, your build options start to really matter and your playstyle can shift dramatically. Even basic perks that add 1 damage or a smidge of armor are totally worth it early on. After murdering the entire local pest population and suffering psychological damage from the crabs, you reach floor 5. It's eerily quiet. No enemies, no loot, a few rooms, and a pool of water. Something's definitely there. You inch forward, and just like that, it awakens. Welcome to your first proper boss fight. A big sentient pile of goo named Goo. Amazing. Up to this point, brute force probably worked on most enemies, but if you try that here, you won't last that long. Goo's main gimmick is an attack that applies a damaging debuff, which can be cleansed by stepping in water. Problem is, it heals in water. Occasionally, it will convulse, and after 2 turns, it will slap you with its slimy gooey slop, dealing a hefty chunk of damage. You might be able to take 1 hit, but not 2. And on top of that, if its HP drops below 50%, it enrages. More damage, more accuracy, and it becomes a lot more excitable. If you've saved enough healing items, have a decent weapon, or just a solid piece of grass to kite it around, you should be fine. Shut up! Once defeated, Goo drops a few slime chunks and a key that opens the gate to the next region. This covers all the basics, but don't think you're done with the tutorial just yet. Welcome to the prison, the casual filter. One inmate will approach you with the intent of shanking you and stealing that 1 honeypot you've carried until this point, only to have it shattered and have the bee living inside chase him. Then you'll have walking tasers that will jock shock you from afar, and the skeletons that are ready to take your calcium. From this point, enemies stop behaving like one-dimensional obstacles, they start synergizing and covering each other's weaknesses. You'll see a prison guard yank you away from a DM them 100 with his hook, just so the robot can zap you, and when you try crawling back, the guard punishes every step you take because you're now crippled. Chase a bandit who just stole your item, and he'll just lead you into a room with enemies, or worse, a necromancer, and while you're trying to juggle the mess, the thief slips off screen and you'll lose your item. But don't worry, there's one person in this dungeon who's going to take your money and give you something useful in return. Merchants start appearing at the beginning of each new region. They sell useful items, scrolls, gear, and storage containers. These don't just expand your inventory, they also protect it from environmental hazards. If you've been reading the action logs, you might have noticed that your scrolls can burn and potions can shatter. That's where the scroll holder and the potion bandolier comes in. And of course, unks. If you die while holding one, you get to keep 2 idols and get teleported somewhere random on the same floor, only to die again trying to retrieve your backpack. Not great unless you've saved 20 dewdrops. In that case, you can blast the Ankh, and now when you die, you revive on spot, keep your inventory, and even get a few turns of invulnerability. That blast Ankh is great. Especially when you died to a mimic because you didn't check if the chest you found was breeding. What, you thought this old school roguelike dungeon crawler wasn't going to have mimics? They are scattered everywhere, just waiting for flesh. They're not too hard to detect if you're paying attention. If you want more to spawn, there's the Mimic Tooth, one of the many trinkets that increases their spawn rate, but also make them hard to distinguish from ordinary chests. The trinket also unlocks Ebony Mimics. Ebony Mimics? Ebony Mimics?
Ebony.
What the f?
Ebony.
Ebony. Transparent versions that hit harder and wait on top of loot, doors, and even the exit. You can toss a throwing weapon at them to trigger them, or have a more surgical approach. You might have a question, dear viewer. Why the fuck would I willingly make the game harder and risk eating 40 damage in one hit just because I didn't look at a chest long enough to spot it was slightly off? That's because now Mimics drops more and better loot. That, my friend, is the whole idea behind trinkets. You find a magical catalyst and you create it with alchemy. Trinkets offer a bonus, but always with a drawback. Wanna see enemies through walls? Awesome. But can you play with your vision range being cut in half when you fully upgraded it? Your choice. Anyways, you'll continue to juice up your body with steroids and rub scrolls on your equipment until there's more paper than metal, while fighting all sorts of machines, elementals, dwarves, and furries. But after defeating the Dwarf King and his 1000 slaves, you're one shop away, if you've done the imp quest, from facing the demon holes. The first thing you'll notice? Nothing. Your vision is halved unless you use torches. Even if your build was carrying you before, misplays are punished severely. What horrific demonic creatures inhabit these halls? Women. Succubi can teleport adjacent to you and hit you immediately, occasionally disabling your melee attacks. Reaper demons seem dangerous and fast, but they have a tendency to jump into pits. Evil Eyes are the off-brand dwarf warlocks. They also snipe you from off-screen, but they take 2 turns to charge their death gaze. But none of that compares to the Scorpios. Remember the Gnoll Trickster, that first boss you fought back into the sewers? Now imagine fighting multiple. Now imagine they can cripple you. Now imagine an alternative version that also drenches you with caustic ooze. You'll rush through the levels, ideally saving enough scrolls of magic mapping to know where the exit is, and eventually you'll stumble into an open level. A clear sign that you're about to fight a boss. Meet Yog Dzewa. It shoots lasers, and the lower the health gets, the more laser it fires. It summons minions, and during phase transitions, it spawns elemental fists that must be destroyed before you continue. You can't keep your distance from the fists because the minions close in, and if you try focusing the minions or one of the fists, they'll douse you in gas, blind you, reduce your vision, or just set you on fire, all while the eye's trying to vaporize you. If you think you're underprepared for this battle, that's because you are. You need more than healing items, you need more than just your equipment. You know what you need? Knowledge. Let's take a few steps back. The game wanted you to go as fast as possible through the halls so that you don't find this thing. This conglomeration of red pixels that appears every level of the halls is a demon spawner. Destroying one not only rewards you with potions of healing, but also weakens the boss by reducing the chances of worms being replaced by stronger foes. Next up, we go shopping. Write this down. 2 potions of fire, 2 perlated gas, 1 scroll of rage, and lots of healing potions. Got all of that? Good. You've noticed those locked rooms with potions, crystals, and a big cauldron. We're going to cook. Here's a quick rundown. Turn whatever junk you don't need into magic energy. strategy. Use 3 identical seeds to guarantee a specific potion. Upgrade the liquid fire to Dragon's Breath, then to Elixir of Dragon's Blood. Do the same thing with Paralytic Gas to get Earthen Armor, then Elixir of Arcane Armor if you kept those goo chunks. Turn the Rage Scrolls into Stones of Aggression. If you got more stuff laying in your inventory, you can make more Earthen Armor, Scrolls of Challenge, and a meat pie that keeps you fed longer and boosts healing while full. Don't worry about the weird chocolate egg. Pasties just changed their look based on the season, because nothing says balanced diet like a seasonal dessert jammed into a meal made out of biscuits and roadkill. You're prepared and ready to go. Start the boss fight. You won't need any of the items you cooked just yet. Focus on dodging and killing the minions while juggling hits from the eye. When the elemental fists start appearing, match them with the correct elixir. Fire for the burning and soiled, and arcane for bright and dark. Pick an area where you want to fight the fists and pop a scroll of challenge to reduce incoming damage. If you want to play it extra safe, activate Earthen Armor. Keep repeating this pattern until you reach the final phase. At this point, it will bombard you with lasers and minions, but here's a funny trick. Throw an aggression stone into its eye socket. That redirects the swarm right back at it, melting it down in seconds.
You boys ready for your cock meat sandwich?
And just like that, you've beaten the final boss. Behind what used to be a solid wall lies a long corridor, and at the end of it, you finally find it. The Amulet of Yendor. You could call it a day and finish the game. But should you? If you're out of supplies, fine. Otherwise, ascent. Go back to floor 1, this time for better score multipliers and the true ending. It's not really a victory lap because enemies get buffed to the point where your armor might as well be cardboard. You can teleport between floors, and if you rush up the stairs without clearing enemies, the amulet's curse gets stronger, slowing you down, doubling enemy speed, and straight up hurting you every turn. Thankfully, boss floors fully heal and removes your hunger. You'd think it gets easier the more you ascend, but let me remind you, every region has at least one schmuck you never want to see up close, and that gets more likely if you don't kill at least 2 enemies per floor or until the amulet turns green. It doesn't matter how you do it, just do it. Avoid the dwarf monks, cave spinners, bandits, and that one fucking crab I hate with every fiber of my body. Just keep moving, get to floor 1, and if you manage to not get sandwiched by 2 snakes, you'll taste that sweet, exquisite victory. But you're not done. Not yet.
ほほう。では十分近づくがよい。試験終了チャイム直前まで問題を解いている受験生のような必死こいた気分で教えてくれたというのに。やった。終わったのだ。なんだ。体の動きが鈍いぞ。まったく体が動かん。動けん。バカな。
You've done well so far, but up until now I've only been using a mere 5% of my power. Now let's see how well you fare against my blast!
Man, that is just as good as busting a nut. You've unlocked challenge mode, where you pick from 1 to 9 modifiers that tweak the game's rules and force you to rethink everything. There's even an achievement for a 6 out of 9 challenge run and a 1,000,000 point score, which means you have to play an almost flawless 6 challenge run or 7 or above. Why would you play under such strict conditions? Well, you don't have to. There are seeded runs to experiment with and daily runs to compare your failure to other failures. But after beating the game a few times, your dopamine tolerance is shot. You need a little bit more. If you want replayability without too much bullshit, just enable the first 2 challenges. That's my default. But you want pain. You want worse than getting sniped across the room by a projecting snake or bullied by an anti-magic crab. That's why we're going for one of the hardest accomplishments in this game, with 6 out of 9 challenges and optionally 1,000,000 score. And for your best shot, pick Huntress. Other heroes can do it, but I got my first 1,000,000 point win with her, so that's who I'm talking about. And no, I'm not here to tell you to try all challenges at once. Let me be crystal clear, I do not recommend full challenges. I am not brave, nor am I God's gift. I am just retarded and I have the emotional scarring to prove it. And I can say, with zero hesitation, that I would rather have my balls fed through a meat grinder than ever go through that again. For the sake of your mental stability, just go up to 1,000,000 points, 6 out of 9 challenges. That should be your ceiling, and if you finish that, you should be more than proud of yourself. And speaking of that, how bad can it be? Up to 4 challenges is still mostly acceptable, but the second you hit 6 challenges or above, it starts reeking of RNG shit. I'll walk you through it, but for now, the ones I picked are Hostile Champions, Better Bosses, On Diet, Barren Lands, Swarm Intelligence, and Into Darkness. Fate is My Armor is the equivalent of walking around bare arse the entire run. Pharma makes healing potions and whatever it's made using them poison you, and Forbidden Runes cuts your upgrade scrolls in half. So I disabled those. Now you're looking at the rest and you're like, man, how is this supposed to be fun? And that's the thing, it isn't. At least the game has the decency to tell you if you have a good run by killing you on floor 3. If by floor 2 you don't find better armor or weapon, you're fucked. No utility item like the Wand of Blast Wave, a Ring of Haste, or some damaging ones like Corrosion and Fire Blast, you're fucked. And even if you got one or more of these items, there's no certainty that you will win that run. And sure, picking Huntress sounds brain dead with the vision limit and barren terrain, but hear me out. You're not supposed to see. You're supposed to shoot. You throw the water skin to pop doors open and then shoot arrows into the void, killing them before they reach you or finishing them at choke points. The real trick? Equip any ring you find. If dead enemies start flashing in different colors, then that's what you're looking for. The Ring of Wealth. Shut! Yeah, it sounds lame, but I'd rather play one smart run than die 50 times. Dump every scroll of upgrade into the ring, even if it doesn't boost stats, trust me. Upgrade that thing to +3, stay under level 11, preferably 10, then go to floor 4, look for a cozy open spot over some water, get yourself a nice grilled cheese, open YouTube with your favorite SMAR video, and start killing
Everything you see.
for as long as is needed, or until you drink an unstable brew and you'll accidentally pass the level threshold. In short, enemies stop giving EXP after a specific point, but not items. An upgraded Ring of Wealth is capable of, I shit you not, create almost everything you want with the exception of other scrolls of upgrade and strength potions. But here's another problem. I'm starving and I'm out of food. Everything feels half as much because of the on diet modifier. Haven't I told you that you can get everything you need? Here, hold this potion of purity and go to the cauldron. Normally it just grants gas resistance, but toss it into the alchemy pot and now I have a potion of cleansing, which removes every debuff. Guess what? Starvation counts as a debuff. So I boil a bottle of zinc glauconite that turns into magic Gatorade, which cures hunger. What about meat? Crabs drop mysterious meat that can give you a random flavor of food poisoning if you eat it raw. However, we have hostile champions which can spawn blazing champions, and when they die, they set fire around themselves. Drop the meat on the floor, kill the enemy, and it will grill the meat so you can eat it without the fear of getting botulism. Or you can make that even better by throwing a potion of frost over the raw meat to create frozen carpaccio. It's like grilled meat but with extra effects, and I could go on and on yapping about how you can get a horde of planted that you feed it meat to, then get an unstable spellbook that you can feed scrolls dropped from enemies, unlock scrolls of mystic energy, then recharge the previously mentioned artifacts, basically making infinite food from one stupid ring. And it only gets better from this point. If you like the idea of high risk, high reward, you can beat the sewer boss and head into the prison without killing anything. Even if enemies are coming for your dump truck, do whatever it takes to avoid them. And there's a plethora of ways to achieve that. Stone of Sleep, Fear, Flux, Scroll of Terror, and so on. Grab every upgrade scroll you can find, then haul your half-dead ass back to sewers. Upgrade the ring and the difference in loot is big. Personally, I know I'm good to go and my camp looks like an art exhibition with 200 frozen carpaccio, a fully geared +10 rose, a +3 chained armor, and a runic blade for myself. What about the ghost? He'll become a very valuable asset soon enough. Now you can play the game as you used to until you reach the Dwarven city. Scoop up all the scrolls of upgrade in the area and do that with the demon holes if you're brave enough. Make a few noisemakers, keep your level at 22 and look for a safe spot on floor 17. Got a setup like this? Perfect. Send your ghost out of your field of view, toss a noisemaker and take a nap.
What the hell is even that?
Let me explain what's happening. The noisemaker pulls every enemy on the map straight to it. Your ghost holds the choke point, tanking hits while out healing the damage. You are sleeping until starvation kicks in. Wake up, eat 2 rations, look over your farm and go back to sleep. Dwarf monks drops rations anyway, so no need to prepare the food. With all the fire and frost potions dropped by elementals, head to the alchemy pot and turn it into energy crystals to craft
Everything.
Also, the gear dropped by monsters is upgraded. +5 greater shield and +5 plate armor for both you and your ghost. This is, as how the kids say it, the peak Sigma male grind set. You invest the money you looted from someone's house into a crypto mining rig, and your unpaid intern who doesn't eat and sleep does all the work while you nap in a piss blood shit super success. You get so rich, so absurdly loaded, that money loses all meaning. You become spiritually bankrupt. What's left? Watching numbers climb? I've got 100 bottles of liquid napalm and enough gold to buy and sell Mr. Beast twice. What remains is to beat the game. But first, turn your ring of wealth into a ring of sharpshooting so your bow becomes a laser of death, curse your gear on purpose to push it even higher, transform your artifact into a +10 chalice of blood, if you haven't already, and change some of your talents into totally different ones from other heroes. Most importantly, so now you can blind the enemies by hitting them with your meat. You've picked up snipers so that the downside of having reduced vision is countered by farsight. As strong as you might feel, you can still die pretty easily if you get too cocky. You'll reach the final boss, beat it, and then on your way back up to the first floor, if you use your magic mapping or foresight scrolls to explore every tile, avoid every avoidable boss attack, collect badges, hoard gold, and complete all the quests, you'll end up with over 1,000,000 points. And my run was pretty sloppy. It could have easily been optimized with a different strategy. And that's why I love this game so much. No matter how many times I play, I am always surprised by some obscure mechanic or hidden interaction that I never knew before.
What the fuck?
Take for instance the piranhas guarding the treasure chest across the water. You could use a potion of invisibility or the rogue's cloak to sneak past. But you know what's even more convenient? Just drag or push them out of the water. Ethereal chains lets you pull enemies towards you, including fish. So you just take them out of the water and they die on the land. And just like that, the potion is saved and you've got your next snack. Even if it's not so game changing, some interactions are just hilarious. Like the Master's Thieves armband. It lets you blind and cripple your target as well as robbing them, basically getting their loot before they die. Most would use it to set up surprise attacks, but in my case it enables me to pick rogue, sneak up on a piranha and snatch a slice of meat straight out of its body while it's still swimming. That's the beauty of magic. Some commute with nature through enchanted sandals they feed seeds to. Others choose the path of immortality by repeatedly pricking their finger in a chalice. But I'm a simple man. If becoming a stealth organ trafficker means I can avoid paying for my life insurance, then so be it. Let me tell you, this game nails the gameplay loop. It's tight, addictive, and paired with a clean art style that does a lot with very little. It even has lore for the 5 people who care. But it wouldn't hit the same if it weren't for the music by Christian. Not Christian. Right from the moment you drop into the sewers, the soundtrack oozes the sense of adventure, and as you go deeper, it starts sounding more intense and dangerous. By the time you hit the demon holes, you are placed on high alert, as you should be. Oh shit. And when you finally ascend, it's like the music flips into a redemption arc mode, like you've just crawled out of hell with your sins scrubbed clean. He did great jobs and he deserves more attention, go check it out. I honestly don't care about the scoreboards, I ascend just to hear those tracks again. I've died more times than I finished this game, but I know that on my next run I won't die from an enemy, but by my own hand, and you can experience it too, for free. And if this game compromised your sleeping schedule like it did mine, you can support the dev by buying it on Steam or the iOS store. Of course, this game isn't for everyone who isn't at least slightly neurodivergent.
What the actual shit? What?
But it's here, try it out, make your own judgment. And hey, if this video sparked your interest, even just a little, I'm glad to hear. And not only that, I wanna thank you for sticking around till the end. I truly appreciate it. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to do all the things that would please the YouTube overlords. And a huge thanks to my daily benefactors on Patreon, the true supporters of quality and delicious content. Alright, I gotta head out. I just got a letter from some shady ass provider claiming my dad didn't actually leave for milk, but got lost in a cave on the moon, because of course he did. Until next time.